It may seem the stuff of the Cold War, of Cold War thrillers, of dystopian fiction, but the threat is real, present, and evolving, and the United Kingdom must now prepare for a direct military attack from Russia. And this is not idle speculation, as reported in the Telegraph and corroborated by senior Whitehall sources. Apparently, the UK government has issued a clarifying and a classified order to overhaul our long-standing war and neglected war book, the Cold War era contingency dossier, last meaningfully updated in 2005. And in its place will be a comprehensive homeland defence plan addressing the grim but now plausibly real possibility of a Russian missile or cyber attack on British soil. This announcement follows months, indeed years, of escalatory threats from Moscow, and since Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Kremlin rhetoric has sharpened, and Russian state media, propagandists and politicians have singled out the UK repeatedly, branding as not just an adversary but a legitimate target. The former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has gone on record stating that Vladimir Putin once told him, "Boris, I don't want to hurt you, but with a missile, it would only take a minute." This is not diplomacy, this is menace. In recent months, the UK intelligence and military leaders have privately warned of our vulnerabilities: gas terminals, undersea internet cables, transport networks, nuclear power stations. These are not merely strategic assets, they are sinews of civilized life. If a targeted hybrid assault occurred, a combination of cyber disruption and missile strikes, the result would be catastrophic. Think rolling blackouts, economic collapse, contaminated air or water, panic. In January, the Cabinet Office modelled such a scenario, and their conclusion: civilian fatalities, paramedic deaths, economic meltdown, a long-term damage to trust in government's ability to respond. Now, under Keir Starmer, the UK is quietly but urgently rewriting the Defence Manual. The Resilience Directorate, a rarely discussed unit within the Cabinet Office, has been tasked with preparing for the unthinkable. Their work will include a chain of command for wartime governance, evacuation and sheltering protocols for ministers and the royal family, plans for BBC broadcasts, food rationing and martial law, and for the first time a detailed strategy of withstanding large-scale cyber warfare, something unthinkable in 2005 but now central to 21st century conflict. And we are not ready. Senior RAF officials have admitted if the first night of the Ukraine war had happened here, Russian missiles would likely have overwhelmed our defences. We lack even the rudimentary equivalent of Israel's Iron Dome. Hypersonic missiles travelling at 10 times the speed of sound could strike London before we finish this very speech. To quote Whitehall, "We are outgunned, not only abroad but at home." What must we do? First, defence spending must become a reality, not rhetoric. Starmer's pledge to raise defence spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2027 is commendable, but insufficient unless tied to real capability: missile shields, cyber divisions, civil preparation. Second, civilian infrastructure must be hardened. Hospitals must be prepared for mass trauma. Local councils must be briefed. Emergency services trained. Schools, power plants and telecom hubs must be evaluated and protected. Third, we must rebuild the social contract of resilience. Government cannot carry this burden alone. Civilians must be informed. Schools must revive civil defence education. The BBC must be empowered to lead national emergency communication again. We must not scoff at bunkers or drills. We must embrace the wisdom of preparation. We prepare not because we wish for war, but because failing to prepare is an invitation to catastrophe. Russia is testing the West, not just on the front lines in Ukraine, but in our capitals across Europe, on our networks, and in the quiet calculations of our deterrence. The new Homeland Defence Plan is not paranoia, it's prudence, it's responsibility, it's government at its most elemental, protecting life, protecting liberty, and securing sovereignty. Let's not wait for a siren to learn that we are unready. Let's act now, together.